Hi, guys, welcome to another very interesting discussion today. We are talking about the new Malayalam movie that has released. It's called Sunny. It just released yesterday, and we are today. It released today, and we are here to talk about it. It is very interesting that Farhad from our group loved the movie, and me and Sadik found the movie okay. So I think this discussion is going to be very, very interesting. But before we start the discussion, I want to ask Farhad, can you please tell the audience what is the plot of the film?
So, hi guys, and yeah, we all have varied opinions about the movie Sunny, and I have also penned my review on Popcorn Reviews as usual. Tanya, you can leave the link in description. So, Sunny is actually a film. It is set in the 20. It is set last year during the pandemic, 2020, and it is also dedicated to that year, where a man returns from Dubai and isolates himself. He quarantines himself. So that is basically the simple plot, that one line of plot that is there, and then there are many layers that then open up about his personal life as well. So we won't go into the detail, because if anyone hasn't watched, then we would want you to also share your opinion after watching it. So this is just a one liner. I just would want to keep it short here.
Okay, so I want to ask you all that the movie had a lot of layers, as Farhad said, and because it's based on 2020 and it is based on quarantine and what a man goes through while his quarantine. Sadik, do you think that it makes sense to release this movie or to like show this movie right now when we have seen so many movies on COVID? Did you feel connected to the story and did you feel that yes, it was therapeutic as everyone is calling it?
Yes, I do. I do think that it does make sense to release this film now, and I think it is very relevant. I mean, whatever time you release now, post-pandemic, so it is quite relevant. And personally, I really like the film, but I do think it could have been much better if they hadn't given it that simple, because it was at times way more simple that it could have been, because they should have added more layers and should have made it, I think, more comprehensive type. So I think it was way more simple than I think it had more potential. I think it should have been a bit more, what should I say, should have something more elements attached to it. At times it was a bit more predictable also.
True.
So that was my only concern with the film, but otherwise it was an amazing film. Loved it.
For me personally, I did not like the movie that much. I am sorry. When the movie started, it showed that he's hallucinating and he's going through a lot. I personally thought that the characters that he's communicating with in the movie would also be hallucinations who would help him out to get out of the situation that he is in. But then when I saw that these characters are real and they are just helping him out, and then things are falling in place for him very regularly without him even trying to do something, it just felt very loose for me. Like the script of the film was very, very loose and it did not make a lot of sense to me. Apart from that, I want to talk about the screenwriting, which I liked. And Farhad, can you tell us what did you think about the screenwriting of the film?
So the screenwriting, as is the case with many Malayalam movies, is that they have a simple premise but a very complex plot, complex screenplay. When I say complex, I mean that there are many layers to the screenplay. Like we can all say that the story was simple and or resolution. This was closer to life. I think it was very close to reality. We all have been through, even though I think the three of us haven't, luckily, touchwood, got infected with COVID. But
Yes.
having said that, we all were under isolation in that first pandemic, that first lockdown. If you remember, that it lasted for around 50 days, in fact more. And so that had an impact on your mental health. There were various thoughts that had come to us. In this case, in the movie, there were the protagonist, because he was going through so much in his personal life as well. There were thoughts of suicide, uh, also, which was bothering him. So here, I think the screenplay also has small symbolisms here. For example, that ant in the glass. So the ant was like all of us, rather. I wouldn't say only the protagonist, but it was all of us who were isolated in that, uh, so to say, structure, the glass wall that is there around us, imaginary for us, but for the ant, it was an actual glass. So that is a symbolism that was very well done. Also, the alcohol that was there, that uh, signified gloom or escapism into some reality, which wasn't the case. And the plant that was there, or the girl who he used to interact, they signified hope. So it's like, how do you look at it from and there were all of these were part of his daily routine, if you see.
Sorry. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this discussion where I'm not gonna ask you guys questions. I'm gonna tell you guys what I had a problem with, and let's just discuss. Maybe I could be wrong in thinking, y'all can correct me, or we could even like agree to what I'm saying. So whoever is free to answer and whatever y'all feel, just throw in your ideas. So firstly, I had a big problem with the end. Um, he cheated on his wife, okay, and she very clearly stated on her status that she does not want to make the same mistakes again. It was very clear. Even when she calls him, she does not ask him how are you and all. She directly says, I'm putting him on conference and he's going to sort out our house. So it was very clear from her side that she has nothing left for him. Okay. And how much ever she tried, how much ever he tried, she was not interested. Now I have a problem that he cheated on her, he treated her badly. Once she had a kid, why did she say that the baby wants to meet you?
Yeah, that was some problem.
What was that?
You
Like,
want to go, Karthik?
No, for you.
So I feel that there are two things here. One is that we don't know his side of the story as well. It wasn't shown. And so we would just be assuming under what circumstances was he cheating. Yes, cheating is wrong. It is not right. But uh, that actually another couple of things that came to my mind, that this we don't, so we may not necessarily judge a person based on what details we have in the movie. Second thing is, that was not your main plot point. His personal life was also in a way going parallel with the quarantine. It started off with gloom and it ended with a little bit of hope, and that hope was in the form of the his newborn child that was there. And I think when I have seen, when couples do have a child, they would like to give their relationship a second chance as well. That is the reality as well. So I don't think we should focus too much on that, except for the fact that it had given him hope, and some purpose to his life, which at one point it seemed like he had lost his hobby, lost interest in his hobby, had issues in his personal life, or I don't know. Even he was, I think, a loner. He was also under a lot of debt. All of that, and that little that in the quarantine, the girl who he was interacting with was that form of hope, or the watering the plant that he did towards the end. That for him was healing mentally, and then one thing led to another. When so I think the makers wanted to uh, put out a message that if you look at the positive, probably certain things in life might sort itself out, instead of you making an effort or losing hope altogether.
I can understand that you don't want to judge, and I am also not judging. I don't know what the woman is going through at that time. But then my problem is that when you're going through so many issues, suddenly you're getting the 30% from Byju's, and then your lawyer's telling you that I'm going to pass it to Jacob. वो जो भी हुआ, suddenly it happens. Suddenly your wife is telling you come back. Suddenly the girl you're talking to, ऊपर you go to the lift and you see her. There was no shift of negative to positive. I just think it was so negative that he wants to die, and then ek din utha aur sab kuch theek ho gaya. That's what I felt with the movie. I don't think I was related to the character that much or his journey.
That was also my issue because I thought that there was some incomplete writing there because there was a lack of character development, and I think the main focus was on the character of Jayasuriya only because I think they were not able to interconnect or integrate with the other characters. So this is the main reason why I was not satisfied with the second half or the climax. Because the film started really well, it was really glued to me. And when I initially
Exactly.
read the premise of the film, the initial synopsis of the film, so I got really interested that it's about COVID and it's about post-pandemic and stuff. That's why I was so excited to watch it. But after watching this film specifically, in the last final few minutes, so I did find there were some flaws, and what you mentioned now, Tanya. So I think this was one of the flaws where I thought there was some issues with the writing. But overall, it was good. I mean, they did cover the good elements about it, and at times it was realistic. But I think that there should have been some explanation also regarding the issues that were happening, especially with the with the wife divorce and the child that had died in the initially before she got pregnant. Pregnant again. I mean, so that was also an issue. And then he was having divorce also. There was no justification and all. So I mean, that was a bit haphazard in this regard.
For me also, like, I really like the fact that it was a one man film, and I was connected to the other characters, though they were not in frame that much. Even I was like imagining how they would be talking and what his relation with other characters is. That was done very well. But I also have a problem with the girl who was upstairs. Yes, people come in your life as helping angels, but for me, I think she was only in the movie to stop her from that one suicide attempt that he does, and to give him like a cigarette. That's it. Like, what else was her character for? Like, okay, people come in your life
So
as helping angels, but I don't think she was a character that defined much in the movie for me.
Don't you think
no,
that the
I
ending was very filmy? I guess I mean, very cliched or very predictable. At least the ending. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's what I thought, that it was like really filmy, and unlike Malayalam cinema, which is at times very ruthless
Exactly.
and very realistic, because there was no vibes. I mean, usual vibes from the Malayalam cinema, which at times is very ruthless, very hardcore. I mean, you don't expect that this will happen, and it happens, and it shocks you. So I think this
That's
film lacked the shock value. I think that Sunny didn't have the shock value, because I think because of the post-pandemic, with the depression that people are going through, so I think the directors wanted to have a positive ending, so that there is hope in life and all that. That's why they avoided going with a ruthless or a shocking ending. So I think maybe this is why they went with a positive.
I
I can
what I
understand that,
feel
but
is
I
that
just feel that it
coming.
was a little amateur writing, a little amateur way of showing that there is a positive ending. I mean, a lot can happen with one character film, and I am sure that Malayalam cinema can make, because we've seen a lot of outstanding films, but I just feel that this was a film that you watch and you're like, okay, fine, we watched a movie, but something that you might not remember for a long time.
I just feel that the character of the girl, I think, even though there were just so many references only and not much, but I think the writers were trying to show, like, both of them were in the same situation. Okay, so both of them were quarantined, uh, and one chose to live a life which was full of hope. She looked forward to that sunset. She there was uh, a dialogue saying that the sunsets here are beautiful. So she was looking forward to that, though she was working from home, and she yeah, did enjoy her share of cigarettes. Just to basically put your legs up and enjoy life as it is, no matter what the situation is. This was one track. The other track was that he was a loner, he was gloomy, he used to overthink, he was an alcoholic, and basically he was choosing the life, to just live in solitude, basically, or rather end it also at some point. So when their two worlds met, I think the positive energy of the girl, it rubbed on to the guy as well. This is how I would look at it. I wouldn't say that the writing. It see it, Malayalam cinema has been great this year. Has been excellent, but I don't think that this was the kind of movie that demanded a twist as such. I mean, even if you see last week's release, Kane Kane, that didn't have a shocking twist. They were just situations that the characters were in, and the dynamics that they had between them. Here, because it was a one character thing, I don't think. I think it. expecting a shocking twist or something would be a weak criticism in a film like this, is what I feel.
It's not.
Because this was closer to life. It was closer to reality. Our lives don't have those kind of twists, that would shock you. Yeah, you could argue saying that this is probably a cinematic uh, viewing, and you can take that liberty of showing that. But I mean, it's probably just my thinking that if even if the director did show that of hope, that would be like, but I would somehow, I would also tend to buy that argument which Tanya is saying, that if you had to show hope, you could have also shown it in another way. Yeah, that is a fair point for me. I mean, that is subject to discussion, and they could have shown it, definitely.
It's not really about having a shocking twist. It's about having something to look and something for the audience to think that, hey, is this happening? Hey, is he hallucinating? Hey, is this real? Hey, wait, what is happening? Okay, it's about hope. It's about having a positive life. Over here, it was like, okay, life is bad, 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 bad. Suddenly, you're getting 30%. Suddenly, your wife is telling you come to the hospital, but then you got COVID also. What? Why did he have to test positive?
I mean, so that's what my perception again was, that at the end of the film, because his outlook towards life had changed, that even though he had COVID, that didn't bother him so much. He was looking at the positives of his life. That was my interpretation. It wasn't so much that why did he get COVID, or why. It was just that even though he had COVID, he was looking at a positive angle to his
It's
life,
ironic.
which is
It's ironic.
redemption for the character.
It's ironic that he was COVID positive, and that's why he was looking at the positive of life. So this is the main
No, it's
reason
not.
why.
That's why. Despite that, it is despite being COVID positive, he was looking at the positives. Whereas at the start of the film, he may not have had COVID, or he might have just been infected without any symptoms, and that time he was gloomy. So these are two drastic, I think, situations that the character was in, and the character arc that is there with different situations. It's very interesting for me, at least.
So I think we have spoken about what we thought about the writing and the story of the film. But moving forward, we have to appreciate that the acting was amazing. Though he was the only person on screen and in the film most of the time, I think he outstood in his performance. And of course, as an audience, he kept us engaged all the time. Now, coming to the cinematography and the background score, and of course, because Farhad loves talking about it, I want to ask you what do you think about the background score of the film?
So the background score usually, if you see, it is just about enhancing a scene. It shouldn't be like we had said in, I think, your previous podcast only, that it shouldn't be too overpowering to dilute out the scene, or shouldn't be too subtle also to not enhance the scene. But here, I think there's a lot of thought also that is being given to the background. So if you see that when the movie starts, the background is very subtle. You cannot hear anything. But as the movie progresses, the background gets a little more vibrant and louder, and at the end of it, it ends in a crescendo, which means that it starts. It also it goes perfectly with the mood of the film. It starts with gloom and ends with hope. The background score is almost similar to that only. It goes hand in hand with that. So I think that is one interesting point, that I observed while watching this film as well. And of course, the camera work, when you put close frames onto the main actor, it allows the audience to get into the psyche of the character.
Yes.
So I think that was, as usual, camera work was excellent, like in
Yeah.
all Malayalam films.
Even I really like the
And
camera work. Agreed totally.
I also wanted to mention about the cinematography by Madhu Neelakandan. So I think about the cinematography. At times, it felt that I'm watching a documentary. At times, I mean, for a few shots, not throughout the movie, but it was like and this is why the film at times felt very realistic. Like, when you are watching from a single person's perspective, so at times you feel that, this guy is really going through a torrid time, and he's really having, a very difficult time to cope up with life. And that's where the cinematography comes into play. And that's why I think the cinematography really stood out. And the music also by, I forgot the musician's name, Sanjay Sarkar, I think his name is. So yeah, even that was good. And yeah, as Farad mentioned, that initially it was a bit slow, but it did progress and improved quite a bit.
Now coming to our last segment, I want us to rate the film and tell the audience if they should spend their time in watching this film. Though the film is not very long, it's only 94 minutes. And I will start with the rating. I think I am really, really sorry, but I think I would give it 2.5.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm being generous here, but I think I have to go with the four, because not with the film or not with the, really sorry if Tanya's a bit shocked, because I think at least now it has provided some shock value to Tanya, which the film didn't, surprisingly.
No, me
So
also.
yeah, yeah. So even the viewers, if they are shocked enough, so the reason why I'm going with a four rating, even though I was not really impressed by the film, but I'm glad that at least they had the guts to try a new experiment. So even though initially I thought to go with a lower rating, but I think I
What
have to
was
go with
your
a four.
initial rate? Just curious. What was your initial rating?
Initially, I thought three would be more than enough for it.
Sadik, you're
I
a
should have gone
gaddar.
with, yeah. Sorry, I'm a Johnny also, so Johnny Gaddar.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I may not agree with all the views of Sadik, but I think the rating I will definitely agree with Sadik. I think it's a four for me also, 4 out of 5. And the same you can also read it on my website again, Popcorn Reviews, which is in the link in the description. I think the movie was meditative, is what I said. Meditative, soothing, layered, and therapeutic. These are the four words that I had used to describe this film. And I to be honest, I really loved it. So it's a four for me, Danya.
Okay, fine. To each their own. But frankly speaking, the movie is not bad. It is a very good it's a well shot, well made film,
yeah.
very, very good experiment. But as I said, I was not a fan of the story that much. But I don't want to get into it again. So thank you so much, guys, for coming. And we will meet again next week on an interesting movie. And you guys can also let us know what you all thought about the film. If you all agree with me or with Sadik or with Farhad, then let's discuss this film in the comments below. And please,
Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and please let us know if there's any movie you would like us to review. And if you still would like, detailed reviews, if you like reading, please visit my website. Yeah, please. This is
please,
also
it's in the
one
description
request.
box below, and he writes very, very beautifully. So please go to his website and press the link.